Hello dear friends, welcome to our next Turkish lesson. Today we are going to start learning Turkish verbs. Yes, we had 9 lessons without any verbs. But it was okay because we needed to lay the foundation to know some of the basic things. Now we are going to learn the verbs. The indicator of verbs is the infinitive suffix mak or mek. All the verbs without exceptions have this infinitive form that ends with either mak or mek. Let's learn 12 verbs and see their root and how you attach the suffix mak or mek to make it infinitive, like it is in the dictionaries. For instance, to want something is iste mek. To read or to study is oku mak. To go is gitmek. To come is gelmek. To do is yapmak. To speak is konuşmak. To write is yazmak. To work or to try is çalışmak. To listen is dinlemek. To turn or return is dönmek. To live is yaşamak. And to sit is oturmak. We can use these infinitives in sentences, phrases or sentences. For instance, to sit is good. Oturmak iyidir. Or if we learn a couple of other helpful words, we can make sentences like the best thing is to listen, for instance. Dinlemek, to listen. The best, you need to do like the most good. The most is a very short word, an. You can add it to any adjective and it will be the most. So the best is en iyi. The most beautiful is en güzel. What do we know? What else do we know? The worst is en kötü. So the best thing is to listen will be en iyi şey dinlemektir. Dinlemek iyidir. The word oturmak is also used for living somewhere, not only for sitting. So if I want to say that it is good to live in Istanbul, I need to say first in Istanbul, İstanbul'da, then the verb to live, infinitive, yaşamak, and then iyidir. Let's say it. İstanbul'da yaşamak iyidir. Or I want to say that it is good to study at a university. Üniversitede okumak iyidir. And we can also say it's good to work at a university. Üniversitede çalışmak iyidir. Then if we learn some more words, for instance, gerek. Gerek means like necessary, needed. So it is necessary to go, for instance. Gitmek gerek. If we just want to say something general like one needs to work, it is necessary to work, then we say çalışmak gerek. Çalışmak gerektir. Also, the important thing to learn is the negation. In English, if you want to negate something, for instance, you want to say to live, not to live, you just add a word not. But in Turkish, you need to change the whole word. Before mak or mek, you need to add ma or me. Mak, mamak, mek, memek. Also, mak is stressed. For instance, yaşamak, to live. And mamak is not stressed, so it's yaşamamak. So let's see how we can say, for instance, to want and not to want. İstemek, istememek. Or to sit, not to sit. Oturmak, oturmamak. We can also say something general like it is good to work, it is bad not to work. Çalışmak iyi, çalışmamak kötü. Or we can say one needs to speak, one doesn't need to speak. Konuşmak gerek, konuşmamak gerek. So all the tenses of the verbs and all other forms will be from these different forms. You don't need to use don't or not or something, any particles like that. The verb itself will either be the positive verb, like oturmak, or the negative verb, like oturmamak. If you just use the root, it will be the imperative singular. Like you say to somebody, for instance, read, read. We can also learn the word please, lütfen. So we can say to somebody, read, please. But when you say somebody with respect, like in plural form, a respectful form, you cannot use this one. You need to also add another suffix. We'll learn it later. For now, let's try say how we say like in a familiar way with close friends that we know or with people younger than us. Let's just say like oku. Oku lütfen. Please read. Or something else. Let's say gel, gel. Come, come, gel. Or if you want somebody to go away, we say git, git. What else do we know? We learned today like konuş. Sen konuş, sen konuş. You speak, konuş. Yaz, lütfen yaz. Please write. Çalış, çalış. Çok çalış. Try a lot, work a lot. Çok çalış. Dinle. So we can tell people like, hey, dinle, dinle. Listen, listen. We can call somebody and say, dön, dön, return, come back, dön. And there is a saying which people use when somebody sneezes, like, in English we say, bless you. In Turkish you say, live long, çok yaşa. Also, if you want somebody to sit, you can say, otur, otur, lütfen otur. At this point, we can also learn one Turkish proverb. Ev alma, komşu al. Almak means to buy. So when they say like ev alma, this is don't buy. Ev alma. Komşu al. Komşu means neighbor. Buy a neighbor. That means when you choose a house, don't look at the house, look at the neighbors. That's the wisdom. Turkish wisdom. I really like this proverb. Ev alma, komşu al. So all these verbs also are imperatives in negative. When you say oturma, burada oturma. Don't sit here, burada oturma. Or you can say gitme, gitme, don't go. Or if you don't want somebody to come, you say gelme, gelme. Yapma, that's another thing, don't do. Yapma. Konuşma, sen konuşma, you don't speak. You don't speak, you be silent. Sen konuşma. Finally, in this lesson, we will also learn the first tense, the present tense. This tense has a stable suffix yor added to the root. But it's added with certain rules according to the harmony. Before yor, you always have iyor, uyor, uyor, uyor. It always should have one of those vowels before yor. So let's start with the first verb. The verb istemek, to want. So just simple form yor means he or she, like third person singular. So if you say iste plus yor, you need to change e in iste according to the harmony to I. İstiyor. So you see, when a verb root ends with a vowel and that vowel is not one of these four, I, U, U, then it needs to change according to the harmony law. E corresponds to I. So iste becomes istiyor. Istiyor means he wants, she wants. Ne istiyor? What does he want or what does she want? Ne istiyor. Okay, let's see how this suffix also is attached to other. Oku, read. He or she is reading. Oku yor. You just add yor because it ends already with u. Okuyor. So you say like, o ne istiyor? Okumak istiyor. He or she wants to read. Okuyor. He or she is reading. And also, if you want to say wants to do something, you just put infinitive form, like okumak istiyor, oturmak istiyor, wants to sit. Çalışmak istiyor, wants to work. Okay? And now let's look at the third verb. That ends with a consonant. Git. Gitmek. So it will be git, and then you need to add e. Eyor. Because the harmony says e, after e you put e. But the problem here is that this t changes to d. And this is a very rare case in Turkish actually, so it's an exception. There are just few verbs in which the end, the root changes from t to d when you add a vowel there. In this case it does change. Gidiyor, which means he or she goes. Gidiyor. O gidiyor. He is going. Now the next one, gel. Just like git, gel also will need the suffix iyor. Geliyor. Gidiyor, geliyor. Gidiyor, geliyor. Going and coming, going and coming. Next one, yap. Okay, we have a here. So a, after a you need ı. Yapıyor. O ne yapıyor? What is he doing or she doing? Ne yapıyor? Okuyor. Reading. What is he doing or she doing? He or she is reading. Next, konuş. It ends with u, therefore we have uyuyor. Konuşuyor. Okay? O konuşuyor. Next, yaz. Yaz, ıyor. Yazıyor. Ne yazıyor? What is he or she writing? Kitap yazıyor. He's writing a book. Okay, çalış. Also, ıyor. Çalışıyor. Working or trying. Dinle. Again, it ends with vowel, e. So the vowel needs to change into I, U, Ü. From e, it will be i. Dinliyor. O dinliyor. He is listening. Dön. That means turn back or return or turn. Dönüyor. After ö, you use ü. Dönüyor. Next, yaşa. A will change to ı. Yaşıyor. O yaşıyor. He lives. She lives. O yaşıyor. Otur. Sit. Now let's say he or she is sitting. Oturuyor. Oturuyor. That's how it works. Now we want to say the negatives. İstememek. İstiyor. İstiyor. He or she wants. Now we have istememek. We take mek off and we have isteme. So again, a in the end needs to change into i. İstemiyor. Let's see how it works with other verbs. Wants doesn't want. İstiyor, istemiyor. Reads or studies doesn't read or doesn't study. Okuyor, okumuyor. Mind the stress here. The stress is very important. Okumuyor. Here the stress falls before mu. İstemiyor, okumuyor. In the next one, gitmek, we already mentioned, the T changes to D when you add like iyor, gidiyor. But the negative verb is gitmemek. Gitmiyor. Goes, doesn't go. Gidiyor, gitmiyor. Comes, doesn't come. Geliyor, gelmiyor. Is doing, isn't doing. Or does, doesn't do. Yapıyor, yapmıyor. Next. Talks, doesn't talk. Konuşuyor, konuşmuyor. We can say some phrases. For instance, we can say John speaks Turkish. Mary doesn't speak Turkish. John Türkçe konuşuyor. Mary Türkçe konuşmuyor. Yaz. Yazıyor. Writes. Doesn't write. Yazmıyor. Work. Doesn't work. Works, doesn't work. Çalışıyor, çalışmıyor. Listens, doesn't listen. Dinliyor, dinlemiyor. Returns, doesn't return. Dönüyor, dönmüyor. Lives, doesn't live. Yaşıyor, yaşamıyor. Sits, doesn't sit. oturuyor, oturmuyor. Okay, so much for this lesson today. In the next lesson, we'll learn more. We'll continue learning this present tense. So see you next time. Goodbye.